Hello and welcome, class. This is our 17th lesson. We are going to start the very last topic, that is topic 7, which is economic development and planning. Now, today we are going to look at what is economic development and economic growth. Then we will look at the indicators of economic development. So as I said, this is the last topic. We are going to look at the introduction. We'll look at indicators of economic development. So before the end of the topic, we should have looked at the indicators of economic development. We shall look at economic underdevelopment. We'll look at the goals of development, the aims. We shall look at the factors hindering development. Then we look at development planning. Now, what do we mean by economic growth? Right? Now, economic growth refers to the increase in a country's productivity, resulting in the rise in national income over a given period of time. Economic growth refers to the increase in a country's productivity, resulting in the rise in national income over a given period of time. So in short, when people become productive in a country, remember we said national income refers to the total value of output, right, in monetary terms. When you look at the factors of production, right, the rewards they get, right, whatever we pay them, when we earn, we get national income. So we are saying now, if these people are going to work, their productivity increases, then we'll experience economic growth. Okay? Now, what are conditions necessary for economic growth? Or put in other words, what brings about economic growth? Now, one, there should be good capital formation and creation from investments and savings. Remember, for any business to start, it's not an investment. How do we start this investment? There must be savings. So through capital formation, the economy is going to grow. When the economy grows, we're going to employ more people, more money in the form of revenue to the government. Number two, output rates should be high enough to sustain production and growth levels. So we are saying we are producing. What are the rates? Should be high so that they can sustain the production and the growth levels. That's another condition. Number three, the population growth rate should not be higher than the capital growth rate. We have talked about per capita income. So when population increases, right, it should not increase more than the capital growth rate. We should start small businesses, produce more at a faster rate than growth in population. Number four, presence of favorable micro and macroeconomic policies. For example, monetary policies of a country must be fair. So when we talk about monetary policies, here we are looking at money circulation, supply of money through the central bank. Alright? So those policies must be fair. If you look at interest rates, you go to the bank to borrow money. The rates of interest must be fair, so that people can borrow money and start businesses. They'll grow the economy. There should be aggressive marketing of our country's products abroad. When we export, we bring in foreign exchange. That leads to economic growth. There should also be adoption of modern technology which reduces cost of production and improves quality. Modern technology. Now we are talking of the 5G network. This is modern technology. We are talking of nuclear energy, which is clean, efficient source of energy. So when you adopt these modern technologies, they are going to grow them. When countries talk of bullet trains, right, those electric trains, they reduce the time wasted on travel, right? Goods are distributed faster. There should be well-developed and strong entrepreneurial culture. People should have entrepreneurial mindsets, right? Then there should be an improved infrastructure, modern roads, right? Modern railway networks, communication, okay, internet, all of it should be improved. This will lead to economic growth. Ensure the country is politically stable. There should be no demonstrations, strikes every time elections are held. The country should be peaceful at all times. The economy will go. Why? Political stability brings about investors, right? Both foreign and local. They want to invest in a country they know their goods, their businesses are going to be safe. What is economic development, on the other hand? Now, economic development refers to improvement in the standards of living, which is brought about by an increase in national income. So economic growth has to do with increased productivity, which increases the level of national income. Economic development, on the other hand, is whereby the increase in national income brings about an improvement in standards of living of the people. Let's look at the differences between economic growth and economic development. Economic growth refers to a quantitative increase in the size of national income. Quantitative to mean what? Quantity. The level, right? The size of the national income. It has improved from 2 trillion Kenya shillings to 2.8. Look at the amount, quantity. Economic growth, economic development, on the other hand, refers to a quantitative increase. Sorry about that. Economic growth, quantitative increase in the size of national income. Economic development is qualitative increase, right? Another difference, in economic growth, does not account for the distribution of wealth. Does not look into consideration the distribution of wealth. Provided the national income has increased, that is economic growth. Economic development, on the other hand, accounts for the distribution of wealth. Because we are looking at standard of living, not just 2 or 10 citizens, everyone. Economic growth measured in terms of annual changes in the GNP, or gross national product. But economic development is measured on the basis of the people's well-being. How are their welfare? Do they have access to hospital? Do they have access to clean and safe drinking water? Economic growth, there can be economic growth without economic development. But economic growth brings about economic development. Hence, there cannot be economic growth without economic development. So economic growth brings about economic development. But in economic growth, there could be economic growth, but there is no economic development. The country has money, but people don't have money. Their standards of living are poor. Now, let's look at the indicators or the characteristics of economic development. What do you look at to say this country has economic development? One, there will be a shift from reliance on agriculture to relying on manufacturing. When a country becomes a manufacturing and not an agricultural country, then we say there's economic development. 2, increase in the level of literacy. People are literate, right? We say there's economic development. Improvement in medical care services. It's another indicator. Increase in the number of skilled manpower. People have gone to school, they have developed skills. Use of modern technology in production, resulting in high quality products. That's another indicator of economic development. Increase in the level of entrepreneurship. People have started businesses. Low population growth rate. Population is growing at a lower rate. High levels of per capita income. And a well-developed infrastructure. And that brings us to the end of our first part of the lesson. The second part, we are going to look at the factors that hasten economic development.